Hello, all benders and non-benders, and welcome back to Avatar Generations. Today we've got some exciting news about the upcoming update on April 18th, I believe it is. The Rise of Kyoshi. Now, they had previously mentioned in kind of their description of the game that they would be exploring other Avatar timelines. They specifically cited, of course, Legend of Korra, obviously, but also the Rise of Kyoshi. I was not expecting it this soon, not gonna lie, because this is brand new content. So, very cool stuff. Of course, for those of you who don't know, the Rise of Kyoshi, that storyline is detailed in the books. I have not read the books, so I'm going into this bad boy completely blind. Although I do kind of hope to get the books one day and read them when I have the time, when life gives me the time. But for today, we're going to use this time to go over the absolutely gargantuan update. We have got new characters, we've got adjustments, we've got hero balancing, and some much requested bug fixes that I think is going to make more than a few of us very happy. So let's get right into it here. We've got a lot to cover here. 1.9 patch notes. A new avatar has arrived. So, we're getting something called the new Avatar Timeline feature. Says once the Kyoshi Island campaign is complete, the new timeline features will be available with 2 new scenarios and a ton of new heroes, including characters original from the Rise of Kyoshi books and a young Kyoshi, actually, which is very cool. Some of those characters they actually did tease on Instagram, so something good to keep in mind. And then a new timeline currency to be used in timeline shops to purchase exclusive items. So, sounds like we're getting another new currency, getting another new shop, more goodies, never a bad thing. I am wondering what this is going to look like with how the game is right now. I'm not sure if it's going to be like a button you hit to go to another map or something along those lines. We shall see. They've added some mastery quests for Tyro, and then some adjustments to the Boulder and to Jiang. Always good. We've actually got a new pirate domain. The pirate domain missions are the ones that grant you gold. Fight against Pirate Queen Tegaka? I don't know. Fight against the Pirate Queen once a day for high gold rewards, and then they're adjusting the stamina cost of other pirate domains based on floor 6. Sounds like this is kind of going to be like a boss fight for gold specifically, as opposed to the other boss fights which gives you like coins and gear. So that's kind of neat. We do have some details here on upcoming summon banners. The Rise of Kyoshi first banner is actually going to last for the whole event, so well over a month. It's called a Limited Avatar Timeline banner. I'm not sure if that limited is something special or not, but then after that we get another powerful opponent, always good. 2 more Avatar Timeline banners, and then a Peace Chaos banner on May 16th. So we've actually got some time before that one, so if you're worried about farming, have no fear, we've got some time. And if you're worried about farming, I've got some other great news for you. In this standard banner adjustment, standard events, which I'm assuming are the new characters like Boomy and Zhang, I think. Keyword here is think. Standard event and rate up banner max pity is reduced from 150 to 120. So saving you 30 wishes there, or 30 summons. Went to Genshin Impact there for a second. 30 summons to get to pity, which is fantastic. And then the real biggie here. Peace Chaos banners and limited event hero banners, which I think is like this first one here. I guess those are like special. I think. Keyword here is think. The pity cap is now 200. So Peace Chaos banners are going down from 300 to 200. Now, I do want to say I'm a little confused on the definition between limited event and standard event. I'm not sure if this means that because if characters like Boomy and Zhang were counted as limited events, then those are going up from 150 to 200, which sounds a little counterintuitive to me. But if they're considered standard event banners, then they're going down from 150 to 120. A little unsure on that one, not gonna lie. But we shall see. But honestly, even with that, the Peace Chaos banners are definitely going down to 200. So thrilled to death about that. Reading it by the letter of the law, I think standard event refers to characters like Boomy, whereas raid up banners are like the current Earthbender event going on right now. But I am really not sure. I'm really not sure. But the Peace Chaos one for sure is going down from 300 to 200. And then Tales of Four Nations, basically the permanent banner on there, no longer resets at 5-star or on a 5-star. So I guess that pity would reset whenever you got a 5-star. It will no longer do that. Always good. They've added some to the Four Nations banner, which actually does give it a little more value. We have Peace Aang being added. We have Boomy, the Goat Gorilla, Flopsies being added. And then they're adding some relics as well. They added the Desecrated Fountain, Yang Chen's Memorial, and the Ceremonial Drum. So yeah, pretty cool stuff there. I was surprised to see that Peace Aang's being added. So I guess even though they are Peace Chaos banners, they will still throw them into that Four Nations event eventually. So yeah. See, I'm not sure about, because I remember back when Suki came out, she was 200, and I'm wondering if she counts as like this limited event, whereas when someone like Boomy and Zhang counted as the standard. I don't know. I could go back and forth about that all day. Now, we do have, of course, event challenges, event currency. Always good. That'll have rewards. We have 2 new relic sets, actually. First one is New Time Art Set. Immune to turn meter reduction for the first few turns at 6 set, and 35% chance to gain between 5% and 15% increased turn bar after the caster attacks, which is kind of interesting. It's almost like this is trying to be a substitute for speed in a way. And it says after the caster attacks, so I would assume this would include combos as well. So whenever they're used in a combo or whenever they attack, they have a chance to gain turn meter. Not a huge, not a huge chance, but could be helpful every now and then. Now, on the other hand, we do have a pretty objectively awesome set here in the form of the Justice Art set. Increases defense as the main stat, and then increases defense by an additional 30% for 2 turns whenever you enter a positive stance or state. Yeah, that I can see being very useful, especially on certain current meta characters that we all know about that, some of us may have just recently summoned on the current Earthbender event. Yeah, I can see this being extremely useful. They made some adjustments to some nodes here. New Resource Battle Challenge node in Omashu. Some new nodes in Razor Reef, it looks like. And then let's see here. We do get some character tuning. For those of you who are really liking Arena, or there's certain characters maybe you want to see become more useful or become a little less useful, this is going to be very interesting. We're going to kind of skip through some of the lesser ones that we're not too worried about, but we're going to really focus on some of the more interesting ones. The Boulder is getting some additional defense scaling. You don't see a lot of him, but he's interesting there. This one struck me as interesting. Offensive Toph, this is the 5-star version. Basic skill now deals increased damage when hitting backline targets. I did not notice her slacking on her damage on the few times that I have fought her, but now that backline's going to get hit even more, which is interesting. For Dojo Master, increased damage on his advanced skill by a little bit, so for those of you using Dojo Master and Arena, it's certainly helpful. This one is interesting. This is for Avatar State Aang, the offensive version, not the Peace version. His basic and his advanced now deal increased damage based on the target's max HP, and his skill cooldown for his advanced is reduced from 4 to 3. Sounds like they're really trying to crank up his damage a little bit by giving this scaling. That will be especially useful against high HP characters. Might be something to look out for. Who knows? We'll see. Dragon Dancer Zuko On his advanced skill, his fire element will now ignore resistance. Not bad at all if you were worried about that. He can now just do it all day, every day. Commander Zhao, the regular version, his base speed is increasing a little bit. His advanced skill gains counterforce damage, which I forget what counterforce damage does. But he also gets increased damage based on the target's defensive stat. We do also have some increases if you get any skill levels of him, and his Mastery 4 level skill basically means he'll never land a weak hit. Really giving him an attempt at a buff here. Will it be enough to save him? I have my doubts, but that's okay. Now, we're going to talk about a nerf here. Iroh, the menace of Arena, the unbreakable brick wall. His advanced skill heal amount per level is going to be reduced from 3% to 2%. So basically, when you're skilling him up, he's not going to be able to do as much healing. Still getting a healing increase, but instead of that 3%, you're getting the 2%. And then his turn bar effect is now going to have a 2-turn cooldown, meaning he's not going to be able to hit the enemy with turn bar decreases as much as he used to. Is this going to knock him out of contention? I don't think so. I feel like his big draw is the fact that he is just a brick wall and that he can do a lot of healing, which is not going to be stopped here. It is unfortunate that he's losing that turn bar effect, but to be fair, it was pretty overpowered, being able to happen whenever it wanted. It will bring that effect a little more in line. We'll see how that goes. The defensive Kyoshi warrior, basic skill deals increased damage. Cool. Kyoshi warrior Sokka, his basic skill is getting a basic skill. Basic skill is getting a damage increase, and his advanced skill is getting a damage increase. Nothing crazy there, just cranking up his numbers a little bit. Here's another one, and this one is a biggie. This one's going to turn some heads. Fire Nation Zuko. His damage is being decreased a little bit on his advanced skill, going from 0.75 to 0.65. Not sure how much that's really going to hurt him because it is just an immensely damaging skill. But here's the biggie. Mastery 4. His turn bar increase is being reduced from 100% to 50%. It's basically no longer a free turn like it is in its current state. I think there's a couple reasons they did this. One, when he triggers that endurance effect that he has, basically, he gets just a free AoE attack just right out the gate that already does good damage, and then being able to whip out a whole nother attack on day one. Yeah, that admittedly is pretty powerful. I think this is to either mitigate that a little bit, or to make it so that if he was about to take a turn anyway, he doesn't immediately take 2 absolutely devastating turns after doing a devastating AoE when he survives a KO hit. That's what I think's going on here. Will this knock him out of contention for the meta? It will bring him more in line. And that's the thing too, is if he's over 50%, he's still going to do an attack basically. But he won't do 2 attacks, or it might take him a little bit when he does survive that hit. It's definitely going to knock him down a peg. We'll have to see how this works in Arena. If he's still, because I mean, he is still a damage nuke, and the advanced skill isn't a massive decrease. We shall see how much that really shuts him down. Monkey, I don't know how to pronounce that. Basic skill can't be countered. Some damage increase, and his master level 4 inflicts some fire element. That's all fine and dandy. Offensive Sokka, I believe that's the 5-star version, but I could be wrong. Advanced skill increased from 0.9 to 1, just a damage boost. The Blue Spirit, which we don't actually have in the game yet, so it's a little funny that they're already buffing him a little bit, but just something to keep in mind when he does come out. His advanced and basic skill can't land weak hits, good to know. 4-star Toph gets a bit of a damage increase. You don't really see a whole lot of her, but just something to keep in mind. Komodo Rider Zuko, this is the 5-star defensive version. His basic and his advanced skill additionally scales based on the target's defense and HP stat. I don't know if that's respective or if that's both in one skill, which would be kind of nuts. So I'll be interested to see how that works. And then the defensive scaling on his advanced skills going up a little bit. And let's see here. Passive skills, additional damage now targets all enemies, and the damage block amount is increased from 15% to 30%. So he's getting a pretty noteworthy buff here. They're definitely trying to give him some damage and make him bulkier. I'll be very interested to see how that works. Princess Yue here. For those of you who played before global launch, this might apply to you. For those like me, we don't have her yet, but she is now reviving 2 allies upon death. This makes sense to me because on the few times that I did fight her from like pre-release people, it always seemed like, okay, well, she's dead, she brings an ally back, and then you immediately put that ally down too. So this might bring her up a bit. I'll be very curious to see. Paku getting a buff. His advanced skill is increasing in damage, and the passive skill deals additional damage to each other enemy if the caster's linker or ender lands as a critical strike. Something that really flew under the radar for me but was recently brought to my attention, Paku deals a surprising amount of damage. If you look at him on paper, he looks weird, but the additional damage he does is surprisingly effective. Don't sleep on Paku. I've learned that the hard way. And this buff might just make him the current meta damaging character, especially with Fire Nation Zuko getting such a buff. This might be a situation of Fire Nation Zuko is dead, long live Paku. We shall see. But do not sleep on Paku. This dude is mean on a good day. Moonslayer Zhao getting an adjustment due to some defense penetration fixes. Gyatso is getting some adjustments here just to his cooldown reduction. Bending Master Katara is getting some cooldown reduction. Always good. And then offensive Sokka. Okay, this is Kyoshi Warrior Sokka again. Faction updated from Soldier to Rebel. Just a little bit of relic tuning here. Four Nations Tiles has a 1-turn cooldown. Risky Cargo, I don't even remember what that one does, but it scales up to 100% at maximum tier. The Masks of Ursa, which really became the replacement for Statue of Kyoshi there for a while, now will have a 2-turn cooldown. Good to know. And the Dumpling Weed is getting nerfed as well. Good to know there. Going to take a look here at some adjustments. Elemental damage type now ignores resistance. I believe that's referring to Avatar State Aang, where he can inflict a debuff on all enemies if they don't already have an elemental debuff. This now ignores resistance. Very cool. The Mark State additionally blocks turn bar. Taunting State now blocks all turn bar increase effects of the taunted targets. Very interesting there. And then some key walk improvements here. They now properly block all damage. I did notice that key walk can occasionally get cheesed by someone like Zinfu. It should properly block that now. And then this is another little pseudo Princess Yue buff here. Looking at some bug fixes here, we do have a fix to ignoring the enemy's defense stat. Apparently that was not working. So that's good to know. Some other fixes here. Statue of Kyoshi is now going to actually work properly, hopefully. So that's good to know. Four Nations tiles getting adjusted. Some other characters and items here getting adjusted. Kind of some other pseudo nerfs here for Fire Nation Zuko. Apparently he was getting a lot of effects that were bypassing heal blocking and buff blocking. So he is now being brought back into where he needs to be. Just something to keep in mind there. And then we do have Iroh here. Once again, it looks like he was blocking some, or bypassing some blocking effects. So those are going to be helped as well. Princess Yue here, heal being less than intended on her reviving skill. Apparently part of the reason why people were dropping so easily is that she was not healing enough. So now she will. Good to know there. Now we do have fix for additional damage effect on Paku skill triggering per ally, or per any ally team crit. So this one, if I'm recalling correctly here, it just looks like he was doing additional damage when he shouldn't have been, which might bring him a little more in line, but he's still a powerful dude, so we'll see how that goes. And then if we take a look here, looks like we were getting more fire elements on that one. Kyoshi Warrior Sokka wasn't triggering Fearsome Stance, so those of you who use him, that'll be helpful. Apparently, Zuko was increasing the attack of the enemy instead of decreasing attack. That's kind of a funny one. Some fixes to Bo Quinn, and Zinfu basic skill defense multiplier being higher than intended. So he's getting a little shut down there, but I don't see that one stopping him anytime soon. As far as arena goes, just the basic arena in and of itself, looks like we are actually going to be getting some stats when you're looking at revenge battles, which I'm kind of looking forward to seeing. And then they're updating how many arena coins and nature stones we get from the weekly rewards, as well as just per division in arena. So it looks like we're going to be getting some more stuff there. Always good. It looks like they fixed the little arena draw pop-up, which is always good, and they're making it a little bit longer before that countdown begins. Just in case, if you're getting stalled out by someone like Iroh, but you are kind of chipping away at them, they do want you to be able to have a fair shot at bringing him down. Some other cool stuff here, we do have an increase to the account rank that's currently capped out at 40. It's going up to 120. Just a reminder what that does. It gives you nature stones every single time you level up. Not something to be ignored. Free loot is always good, and you just have to play the game. So that's always good. Any previously earned experience will be recalculated. So I'm assuming that what you currently have, because it is still counting up, that will be merged with the new increase to the level cap and will apply as thus. So always cool there. Looking at kind of the map here, they're lowering the cost for unlocking main campaign areas. Always good. Always good. They're removing the story scenes for completing certain areas. Thank you, because those really become a pain in the butt. And then this one's a biggie for me. Okay. This one is a biggie for me. Shengguan, the nodes are now permanently resource nodes and timed nodes once you get through the actual story scenario. So no longer do you have to do the time node and then hop over to the other node, do that, and then hop back to the time node. I swear that was the most annoying thing and just made me straight up ignore it for a hot minute. No longer is that going to be a problem. Thank goodness. Some more general changes here. They're adding some stuff to the summon shop. Looks like some Kyoshi Warriors, Mass Soldier M. I'm not sure if that's referring to the Fire Nation Soldier. I would expect it is. But the Defensive Earth Kingdom Soldier and actually the Dojo Master, which is very interesting. Adding the Hawk to the Summon Shop collection. The Katana from the Suki events being added, and the Wanderer's Veil as well. So if you do have a lot of duplicate coins, you might be able to pick some of these up, and that would help you out. Some other little just name changes here and all that jazz, just little items. And then we do have some bug fixes, just some model adjustments, fixing some issues with arena crashing, which is always good. I am actually going to bring up an image here because it's not showing here, but if we do look on the Discord, it gives some additional bug fixes that are being added to this update. So if we're going to look at it here, we do have Boss battles will no longer load into arena matches. That was a weird one. It never happened to me, but I saw it happen to other people. That was a really weird one. Now, raise your hand if this one bothered you. Stun and knockdowns can no longer be permanently applied in combat. Thank you. Thank you. And then, skill mastery challenge progress will now properly track to full completion. Raise both hands if that one bugged you, because boy howdy, my Boomy is ready to be a Skill Master level 4. He has been in Skill Master level 3 Purgatory for a month now, and it has been a pain. But that is getting fixed. Arena matches will no longer crash with damage effects, always good. That one never happened to me, but I certainly wouldn't want it to happen. The draw pop-up will no longer block matches from proceeding. That one did happen to me. That one was kind of a pain. And then preset teams will correctly load into Arena. I'm assuming this refers to the bug where sometimes it will just reset you to like level 10 characters and you're just a walking mat. I'm assuming that's what that refers to. So yeah, that's what we've got going on here. A truly massive update with some very cool stuff. A few things that I'm going to need to see actually in play before I understand it. The biggie being the adjustments to the summon banners. I'm not too familiar on the difference between a standard event and a limited event. But if you do look at the new summon banners coming, we do have limited Avatar Timeline banner and then Avatar Timeline banner. Those seem to be treated as two different things. So the banner that's going to come on the 18th is probably going to have 200, but I would expect these two to be 120. But we shall see. So yeah, hope y'all are very excited about the upcoming Kyoshi update. I know that I am, and we shall see y'all again when it comes out. So yeah, until then, hope you enjoyed this video, and we shall see you next time. Have a good one.